The Committee of Energy and Commerce does have a small subcommittee, and I am the top Republican on that subcommittee currently. If the gavels change hands in the next Congress, there is a possibility that I could be the subcommittee chairman on that committee. Now, it's a small committee, but it is an important committee because it's one of the committees in Congress that has standing subpoena power. And the great thing about having subpoena power is you rarely have to use it because you have it and you could use it. While we've been in the minority, I don't have that tool. And so I'm completely dependent upon sending a request to the Democratic subcommittee chairman, Bart Stupak, or the full committee chairman, Henry Waxman, and saying, boy, we'd like for you to help us have a hearing on this. And they say, maybe later. But what would be great about having the ability to call those hearings is, I've already referenced in some discussion the health care bill. We've got a new administrator at the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Donald Berwick, who's going to be in charge of instituting a lot of the language that was in that health care law that the president signed. We don't know a lot about Mr. Berwick, Dr. Berwick. I know of him. I don't know him. I know some of his writings. I know some of his areas of study and expertise. A very bright Harvard pediatrician. I'm not sure he was the best person to put in charge of this job, but nevertheless, he's the president's choice. He was a recess appointment, not vetted by the Senate, not confirmed by the Senate, and he's the most important man in America that no one ever heard of. Well, our subcommittee, I think, could do a great service to the American people by getting Dr. Berwick to come by and visit with us from time to time. We always swear our witnesses in, so it would be under oath, and talk to us about where he's going with the implementation of this healthcare law, what is happening vis-a-vis the Medicare recipient who saw a significant cut to their program in order to fund a new entitlement, and what about those Americans who are expecting that new entitlement, where is it in the process of implementation. So Dr. Berwick could provide a lot of insight. The Secretary of Health and Human Services could as well. You talked about the BP problem earlier. One of the difficulties we've had is getting the Secretary of Department of Interior to come to our committee to talk about what went wrong with handling the license to BP on the Deepwater Horizon, the well that eventually blew up, and what is he doing proactively to prevent those problems in the future. His answer so far has been a moratorium, but we've seen no indication that they gave any thought to the economic consequences of that moratorium, and more importantly, we've seen no information that the Secretary of the Interior or the President's Energy Czar, Carol Browner, where they are in the thought process of what is it going to require for them to clear this moratorium and allow drilling to continue or to resume in the Gulf. In the meantime, you have rigs that are leaving the area. You have an economy that's been devastated because the oil spill's effect on the fisheries and the shrimpers and the tourism industry, and now the other half of their economy, the drilling industry, has also been put on hold. So these poor folks have been sort of gotten the double whammy from BP on one side and from the federal government on the other. Well, it'd be great to be able to call those individuals before the committee and let's get some game plans. Let's get some action plans that they're developing. And if we've got a question that perhaps they ought to be going in a different direction, we could provide the administration with that information. Right now, we're not calling any hearings. We just refuse to do it. We had a hearing the other day on the direct-to-consumer advertising of human genome kits. Well, that was important, and I'm a big believer in the human genome, but that wasn't the most critical thing on the agenda. And having that subcommittee gavel would be huge because that would give us the ability to exert the proper oversight over the Obama administration. And quite frankly, if there's a Republican administration in the future, that needs to be taken very seriously as well. The oversight function of my subcommittee really is something that should not be taken lightly. It might be argued that during the waning days of the last Republican Congress in 2005 and 2006 did not exercise proper oversight over the Bush administration, but we've done no oversight over the Obama administration in the past 18 months, and the country is worse for it.